invite him back, see how
the potato salad gets made.
the cranberry get made.
Yeah, I heard people who've been doing. I don't eat cranberry sauce. I barely like the drink. But
Have
don't
you
tell
tried
people.
cranberry sauce? Have you tried it?
Yes, I
You
have.
haven't, like when you were 7, right?
But no, I don't like jams, jelly. I don't like preserves, any of it. I don't like anything sweet. I'm more of a savory, salty kind of person. Like sweet stuff. I don't even like desserts. So
You are truly un-American. How can you not like desserts?
I eat
Ice cream?
Yes, I will eat ice cream, but very few flavors. I don't like
You are picky.
Yes, I am picky. My parents, yes, I am picky.
You would have been awful to raise. Oh, Omar won't eat that.
No,
Omar won't eat that.
Omar goes to the grocery store.
Sit at the table and you're going to finish that.
My whole life, yeah, till I was 10, and I'd sit there for 3 hours, yes, and I would not eat it.
I would eat anything, and still do.
The phone's off.
All right, you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, let me take my gulp. Yeah, you know you better take your gulp. It's a lot of talking for 30 minutes.
I saw him and Kate walking down the hall with them. I never understood how they got here. I thought they were just magic.
All right. We thank you, Emma Kate.
Anytime. All right, we'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, beating a distracted New York Jets team at home for the season's first win, that was solid. Upsetting the Brian Hoyer-led Colts in the second win of the season on the road, that was nice. That was nice. But having an offensive explosion, Dave, 37 points in a victory over the Philadelphia Eagles, a Philadelphia Eagles team that is contending for their division title and a playoff berth.
Even at 5 and 7.
Still contending.
Still contending.
Super Bowl champions 2 years ago. That was impressive, Dave. Last Sunday was probably the most impressive Dolphins victory I've seen since one of the many Patriots wins.
Well, it had to be since the miracle game, right?
Yeah,
Both of them had the miracle play in it, right?
Absolutely, no question about it.
Fun one.
I am Omar Kelly, host of X's and Omar. This is Dave Hyde, Sun Sentinel columnist, Hall of Famer as well.
I'm the X in X's and Omar, right?
I've got
if
a lot of X's,
Omar,
Dave.
I'm the
You're
X.
not.
I will be someday.
Very good point. The win over the Eagles puts Miami at 3 wins on this season and shows us that everything this coaching staff has been preaching about is beginning to click. What do you credit for this win, Dave?
Whoa, well, let's go back to the development of Devante Parker. This year, it took 4 years to get there, but he's making big plays, and Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, you look at how are they scoring, how are they getting in the end zone? It's certainly in by the running game. Their running backs, 15 carries, 25 yards. So,
Hey, Patrick Laird scored last week.
So this was
Chandler Cox pulled it in there.
Dimensional. Ryan Fitzpatrick was their leading rusher again. Okay, this was he actually wasn't. It was.
It doesn't matter.
I don't. Doesn't matter. Really, we're talking peanuts. Whoever. The idea being, it was a one-dimensional attack behind really 2 guys. You know, Ryan Fitzpatrick at times just flinging it up there. So
he admitted it was just 50-50 balls, and this is what when it was OTAs, and I was telling you there is no competition. Josh Rosen needs to be the starter. That was because I was watching him throw 50-50 balls all practice to Devante Parker and Kenny Stills. I was like, damn, this guy is actually pretty good. He can actually keep an offense alive. If he sees a 50-50 ball, he can throw it and give his receiver a chance, and they had weapons that can go get it.
But this got back to the philosophy of what's the season about. And I really don't know what this season's about anymore.
It ain't about nothing anymore.
It was initially about trading a second-round pick for Josh Rosen and seeing if we had anything. Okay? Now they've told you, okay, that's out the window.
I told you that wasn't going to work in the beginning.
Well, okay.
You like the chance of it or the possibility.
Why make the trade if you're not going to invest fully in it,
Sure.
especially this season? But for whatever reason, it hadn't worked out. Now, what is the season about now? I'm confused. I was conflicted this whole year what it's about,
Dave,
and now I really don't know what it's
This
about.
season
Omar.
is about absolutely nothing.
It's-
This season
it's
is
Seinfeldian.
This season is a replay of 2011. We're doing it all over again, and unfortunately, we have not learned from our mistakes. As an organization, this is your life as a Dolphins fan, Dolphins columnist, Dolphins analyst.
I haven't put the Groundhog Day.
Listen,
I haven't put it out there.
We are doing it again,
If
Dave.
they win a couple of these games, I'm gonna
Oh,
have to
they
put
bet
the Groundhog.
they're gonna, Dave. Here's our first question, which comes from LawDog316. What metric standards should we now be using to evaluate this coaching staff?
Well, to me, at this point, especially with these opponents coming up, it's wins. Let's make it very simple metric.
Okay, so last week we got off the tank.
Yes.
No. 2 weeks
No,
ago.
no.
2 weeks ago we got off the tank. Then we got back on the tank for Chase Young, and now we're officially back off the tank.
Look, if they're to 3 wins.
Yes.
Okay, and
The best they're gonna do is the 4th pick.
right, and they win one more. They could
Yeah.
and they're going to win one more. One of these next 3.
We'll discuss.
We'll
this
see how
later.
it all. We see it all work. But the metric. I mean, you can come up with all sorts of ideas, but at this point in December, against this opponent, let's keep it simple. They want to measure themselves by wins, so let's measure them by wins.
I think a fair metric is development. We've started to see development from. I disagree with the development. I've always said Devante Parker's a good player when he's healthy. He's healthy. Devante now is no different of a receiver that I've seen with my own eyes.
Okay,
from,
let's be careful. And I wrote a column afterwards saying what a great game. Yes, he developed. Why didn't Philadelphia just double him and say anybody else beat us by Devante? We got 5 small cornerbacks. A smart defensive coordinator is going to do that. And Devante Parker weren't running these great patterns or anything. He was run downfield, throw it up. A lot of teams aren't going to allow that. So yes, one of the things Adam Gase had problems with Devante about was running the pattern, reading the defense, and running crisp patterns. And so, if a coordinator comes and starts strategically trying to take him away, then we'll see where he's at.
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. Let's get to our second question, which comes from Ed Finns, who asks, do you think that the resiliency in the games we've seen from this team, or more from Flores and the coaching staff, meaning play calling, motivation in the benches, or is it more Fitz magic?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Both.
Yes.
I mean, you
okay.
can look from the start. Give Brian Flores credit. He's been steady. Wins or loss, consistent. You know who he is. He's not.
Absolutely.
Look, Adam Gase. Some days, and I compare him. They play him this weekend, but he's the most recent one. Wednesdays, he'd still be down after the loss on Sundays.
That's fair.
Or he'd still be up after the loss on Sundays.
That's absolutely true.
You don't see any of that in Brian Flores, and he's consistently. We're trying to get better today. I mean, it's boring to listen to at times, but that's a good mindset.
He's on message, and I respect that. That's the one thing I really respect about him. He's been consistent all year. The problem I have with that is that he wants a tough, physical team. You're not a physical team. You're not a tough team. Tough, smart, physical. It's the same Tony Sparano edict that they had. You're 2 of the 3. You're not, and that's where I have the problem with. But that's a talent issue.
I was going to say that's not on him.
I'm sorry. This is all Fitz magic. Fitzpatrick. We said coming into this year, oh, Fitz might win too many games. He might get 4 to 5 wins. He's going to get 4 to 5 wins.
He's like the 34th rated passer in the league.
It doesn't matter. You see the Fitz magic, Dave.
You did last week.
You do.
Did.
The week before, even Cleveland.
Yeah,
There is a presence to him that I can't, like last week going into the game, you know who I see sitting down having an intimate post-game dinner together? Mike Gesicki and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Do you know why they were probably having that post-game dinner? It's because with them down receivers, Gesicki was going to have to evolve and play more of a pseudo-receiver role, which means, hey, when this happens, I need you to do this. When this happens, I need you to do that. There's a Pied Piper approach to Fitzpatrick that I can compare to Chad Pennington.
Yes.
When I see that, it's players always gravitate to him. When I have seen that over the course of my career, I go, that guy is going to be make an impact.
And the other thing about that is 2008, looking back, was all Chad Pennington.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, there are other components to
They
it.
had good
Now-
turnover differential.
Now I will
yes.
say Brian Flores' situation it's brutal. I mean, to have a team stripped down of talent and the veterans not happy and saying we want out of here or we're not on board with this, he kept it together. So he gets credit for that. But no,
It's hard for me. Okay.
it's hard for you to give credit.
No. It's kept it together. You have 18 rookies who have contributed to this season. 18 rookies.
Who don't know what they're doing in the NFL, and you kept
yes.
them pointed.
14 undrafted players, waiver wire fines added onto that pile. Everybody's so thankful for their opportunity. How the hell are they going to check out, Dave?
Well, they're not going to check out. The question is, can you get all these people who have never done anything in the NFL pointed towards winning?
That's where
I credit.
That's where I will give him and the staff credit. You've got guys, the first week of the season, people are like, oh, they got blew out by Baltimore. Let's keep in mind, Baltimore is the best team in the NFL right now. Baltimore's blowing out a lot of teams.
Well, their first 3 games especially against we thought Dallas was good.
Come on. Yeah. You also we're playing with 14 guys who got there on Wednesday and had to play a game on Sunday. How the hell do you do that? You don't do that effectively.
You do 59-10.
yeah. So now guys like Nick Needham's been in the system for months now. Yes, is he playing above his talent level? Probably, but he knows the scheme, he knows the system. The coaches know his strengths and limitations, and they're coaching to it. I'll give them credit for that.
All right, Matt wants to know, would the Dolphins have still traded away Minkah Fitzpatrick and Laramie Tunsil if the first game of the season wasn't as bad of a loss as it was?
You would pick the Minkah Fitzpatrick question, wouldn't you?
I just read the questions. You pick the questions.
Listen, they were going to do what they were going to do.
And Laramie was traded before the first game.
Yeah, Laramie was traded
so
before the
just,
first game. And to be fair and honest, if you offer me 2 first-round picks for any player on the Dolphins roster, I'm taking it.
Right.
It does not matter.
The Laramie Tunsil trade, really, when you look at it coolly and rationally from the distance, it was a very good trade for the Dolphins.
Yeah, but you're not picking like 26th.
Right. Yeah, but you have 2 number ones. You have
2 late number ones.
And you have all that money that you want.
2 late number ones, I believe 3 number 2s. So 3
2 number 2s. I think 2 number ones.
No, they got one from New Orleans. Their own New Orleans, and then.
Yeah, I
and
thought
then
you meant in
Houston.
that trade. Yeah. So right. So they got a lot of picks.
They got a lot of picks,
okay,
man.
Minkah, you take that. That one.
Okay, you're just gonna give me that.
That's it.
I know where you sit. You're
I'm
done.
done.
You're
I'm
done.
out.
Here's my. When we initially discussed this trade, and we've been discussing this trade for quite a while now, it was a first-round pick for a nickel cornerback, and yes.
It was not that. It was never that.
No. He was a nickel cornerback, a roving safety. Now, but he didn't want to play that position. They were unwilling to move him to free safety. It was a standoff that Minkah clearly won. But now that Eric Rowe has emerged and played that position and played it well, and is actually covering tight ends better than Minkah was, you have to wonder to yourself, like, damn, why were you being so stubborn about this? Why did Bobby McCain have to play free safety? Couldn't Bobby McCain have played nickel cornerback, the position he played the first 4 years? You put Minkah at free safety, and I understand Minkah was a young player. He wasn't the communicating guy that Bobby McCain was, but you just gave away a Pro Bowl player for the 24th pick in the draft.
That's the thing that hurts. You need those are the players you need.
Yeah.
Just like that, young,
but
inexpensive,
if he doesn't believe
and talented.
if he doesn't believe in what you're doing, do you really want him on board?
All right.
I know your answer. I want an answer, Dave.
Well, I make him want it. I make him love this program. I have confidence. And look, Brian Flores' strength is getting to know players. With the Patriots, now he's an assistant there. The roles are always different as an assistant, but was to getting to know players and getting the best out of them by getting to know them.
Saw
And
another lunchroom conversation between Minkah Fitzpatrick and Brian Flores the week before he was traded, and that conversation wasn't going too well.
I guess that didn't go well.
It was not going too well.
All right, Alex Rodriguez wants to know, should the Dolphins use one of their first-round picks on a running back to fix the worst rushing attack in Dolphins history?
They are going to be the worst rushing attack in Dolphins history.
And NFL history, not just Dolphins history.
Yeah.
You know, things could change, but they're on track to be the worst.
And there should be a lot of shame associated with that. Now, the hope is that young players like Patrick Laird and Myles Gaskin and DeLance Turner, who was a guy claimed off Baltimore's practice squad, they step up and help replace Kalen Ballage, who's done for the season with a foot injury. Not that it makes a difference, because Kalen Ballage was on pace to be the least productive running back in NFL history, yards per carry average. It is tragically bad what's gone on with not just the running backs, but the offensive line. It's a disaster. And, you know, I understand it's been hard to put it together as the season goes along, but you're deficient in talent on both of those units. And yeah, I think you might have to use a high draft pick or spend big money on a free agent like Melvin Gordon. I think he's going to be out there. I think he's going to be available. I think you'll be able to get him for $8 million a season. And I think you need somebody, one, who the franchise could sell, and two, who could serve as the workhorse for this offense.
That will be. Look, they also they need big uglies up front.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They need.
I know
they need to invest.
Oh yeah.
In the offensive line.
You down with some first round picks on the offensive line, Dave?
Please. I'm tired of the line starts here and it moves. It's always moving the same direction. So.
Listen, I say this, and I recently wrote a column on Chris Greer and his drafting history.
A good column. You should read it. Sentinel.com.
It's troubling. It's very troubling. If you look at the Dolphins' history, and people will say, well, he wasn't making the picks. No, he's been running the college scouting department since 2006. So don't make an excuse when you're the boss of the college scouting department and you've been running the draft since 2016. No excuses. But if you look at their draft history since 2000, the only surefire triples and home runs that they've hit, you know what position that's been?
What are you going to go, tackle? Where are we going?
Offensive line.
Yeah, but they haven't done enough of them. That's the thing.
No. That's the only time they ever hit on an offensive lineman.
Oh, I see.
But
what you're saying.
One, that's the only time they ever hit on an offensive lineman, and two, that's the only first-round picks that have really, really panned out. You've got guys like Tannehill and Vontae Davis and Jared Odrick, but since 2000, first-rounders have been waste.
I did a column last Sunday on the lack of offensive linemen they've drafted. The Dolphins, for instance, in the last 5 years have drafted 9 offensive linemen. Patriots drafted 17, Ravens 18. You stretched out 10 years, Dolphins have drafted, I believe it was 18 offensive linemen. 21. The Patriots 38, the Ravens 39. So it's not just, it's not so much the success, it's the sheer numbers that allow you to have success. They need to make a fundamental decision of drafting big players. Excuse me, that was linemen in general, not just offensive line.
It's tragically bad, and it definitely needs to improve.
All right, 3 wins has Miami firmly positioned behind the Cincinnati Bengals, despite Andy Dalton leading the team to the first victory of the season last week when he helped beat the Jets. Miami sits 4th spot of the NFL draft because of the team's 1-loss record and strength of schedule. Does that spot matter anymore, Omar? Are you doing the post-mortem on the tank? Are we done with it?
It's dead.
It's dead.
It's dead. There's no.
Long live the tank.
The tank is dead. It has been nuked. This last win, if they had lost, they still would have been positioned in 3. But then losses to the Jets, Giants, and Bengals could potentially have pushed them to number 1. However, let's be realistic about this. Fitzpatrick is still starting. He's going to win another game. You're going to be picking 4th or 5th, maybe 6th, depending on how many they win. The tank is dead. And truthfully speaking, unless you're in the top 2, it doesn't matter, because you either get Joe Burrow or you get Chase Young. Those are the 2 surefire elite picks. I'm still on the Tua train. I would still draft him wherever I am.
Where would you draft him? Now, he said, he didn't really say.
Well, yeah, we need to talk about
yeah,
that. We
okay,
need to talk about that. And Tua came out and he did a series of interviews with the local media and then with ESPN. I personally believe that those interviews are motivated towards telling teams, hey, I need a commitment from all of you guys. I'm either a top 10 pick or I'm going back to college. And I think it's a pump fake. And here's the reason.
I'm with you, too.
Here's the reason why I'm absolutely certain that this is a pump fake. One, Tua already knows he's going to be drafted in the first round. Whether it's top 15, let's just be conservative. But to make him a top 5 pick, there's so much risk associated with it. One, you already know he's going to sit out the entire season. More than likely, maybe come back in December of his rookie season. So whoever drafts him, they're going to have to wait. I don't have a problem with waiting.
We have a new strategy by the Dolphins here?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with waiting. I think rookies need to be slow cooked, but rookie quarterbacks, not all rookies. Rookie quarterbacks need to be slow cooked. But then he also talks about, there could be money back on the table if I go back to Alabama. Bro, you're not playing at Alabama. You're not, and you're not taking that risk. You get hurt again in Alabama, you're not drafted.
See, here's what was my thought. He wasn't talking to the NFL. I mean, that was another side conversation. Mainly, he was talking to calm down the people at Alabama. Think of the environments he in. Let's quit talking about me. I'm going to come back. There's a chance I'll come back.
Okay, I see your strategy. Yeah.
So maybe it was twofold.
You let them focus on this year's team.
Get silence that conversation of around him.
Here's the thing. If he is a top 10 pick, he's going to make $15 million. Okay, if you were the number 1 pick, you're going to make $25 million. It doesn't matter how much you make on your first contract because it's slotted already. What matters is how quickly you get to your second contract, especially as a quarterback where you're making $25+ million a year and you can walk away with a $200 million salary. So either you go back to Alabama and then you delay that another year and still make the $25 million for your whole 4-year contract, or you come early, make $15 million for your 4-year contract, and then get a $25 million contract at a younger age.
There's a lot that has to happen between now and April, though, mainly with Tua's health.
Yeah.
And so, I mean.
Let's go. The one thing that we do not know is we don't get an opportunity to see the medical report. Now, the NFL will get an opportunity.
Not only get to see it, they'll get to
get to poke and prod and move it. So yeah, we'll know more at the NFL Combine. But let's table the Tua talk for now.
And table the tank, maybe. Again, I don't know what the season's about. I was conflicted with the tank. And I'm conflicted now that what was this all about? All this pain and suffering.
Let me put this to rest. The Dolphins claimed they weren't tanking. So why did you purposely put together the worst NFL roster you could possibly put together? Explain that to me. If you weren't tanking, why did you put together the worst possible roster?
Maybe they weren't calling it a tank. Maybe they called it something.
Restructuring?
You could call it a million
cleanse.
things. They needed to come up with like when the Marlins traded off players, they called it for payroll flexibility.
Oh, payroll
that
flexibility.
That sounded really good.
Okay.
That sounded better than
the tank.
We need to save. We're just dumping money off to save money. So I mean, payroll
flexibility.
Roster flexibility. How's that?
Oh my God.
All right.
No, stop. Pause. Don't call it roster flexibility when all season what you've done is claim a guy and then start him the very next week.
Yeah.
You've done that all season.
A lot, yeah.
There's no excuse for that.
All right, our next question comes from John G. With a top 3 pick, now a pipe dream, can this front office find an elite quarterback with the draft picks they have?
That gets to my column on Chris Greer, who's been part of every selection of a quarterback that's been here since 2000. That includes Mr. John Beck. That includes Chad Henne. That includes Pat White. That includes Ryan Tannehill. Am I comfortable? I didn't even throw in the Brandon Dowdys and Pat Devlins of the world. Am I comfortable with Chris Greer selecting a quarterback? Probably not. Am I comfortable with the people under him giving advice, guidance, recommendations in terms of the Marvin Allens of the world, in terms of what's the other gentleman's
Reggie
name?
McKenzie.
Reggie McKenzie of the world, who drafted Derek Carr. Am I more comfortable with them saying, you know what? This should be our list of quarterbacks, and this should be our what we do. And then Chris Greer, which is what he does, takes everybody's insight, input, guidance, and then makes a decision.
Here's the answer to the question about can they find a franchise quarterback. Let's put it this way. One will be available there because you look at every draft, and it's not the first 5 picks that people are talking about afterwards. It is later in the draft usually where that now
Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson.
I'm not disagreeing with your talk about talent,
Watson.
talent evaluation and quarterbacks with the Dolphins, but I'll stretch that over to 28 teams. How many teams are really smart about picking quarterback? And that gets back to the quarterback position itself.
Ozzie Newsome, 2. Andy Reid and Ozzie Newsome.
That's about it.
That's
it.
That's it.
You know,
Belichick got lucky. No, that's not fair.
I was going to say
that's not fair
Belichick,
because he drafted Garoppolo. He drafted Jacoby Brissett. So he's got right now.
But he did the keep rolling the dice.
Yeah.
He drafted 7 quarterbacks and he got 3. So the point is you got to keep doing it. Not many. It is such a hard look at Russell Wilson. Who are the MVPs of the season right now? Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson. Lamar Jackson, 32nd pick overall. Russell Wilson, 3rd pick overall.
By the way, 2 quarterbacks. Dave Hyde banged the table for the Dolphins to draft. 2 quarterbacks.
I'm not going to
So
bang the
when
table
Dave
anymore.
bangs the
I'm
table
not
for
doing it.
somebody
I'm
this
done.
year, that's who you need to take. We're waiting, Dave.
I'm not going to bang it. I got to be
Pressure's
committed.
on. Pressure's on. So you have no conviction
Not yet.
right
Not
now.
yet. It's not the table banging time yet no more.
All right.
All right. We got a good one from Tua to Parker. Does this recent win and the recent real possibility of more future wins put the Dolphins in prime position to get Tua Tagovailoa towards the end of the top 10 picks in the upcoming draft? In other words, where will he be taken?
I've been doing some digging. I've been doing some digging on these NFL streets. Tua will be a top 10 pick. They will sit him for a year. Somebody, and I believe it's going to be the Los Angeles Chargers, are going to take a chance, roll the dice, and say, hey, that's our quarterback for the future. We're going to go invest in him. We're going to go sit him for a year. We're going to rehab him. We're going to teach him this offense, and he is going to be the man in a year. And it's going to be, and that team is either going to be smart or foolish. Because
That's
hip
a roll
injury,
of the dice.
It's
a roll of the dice.
Tua will be the riskiest first-round pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. It's huge risk versus reward. I take that risk, and the reason why I take that risk is because I believe in that player. He can't talk. When he talks, I feel it in my internal parts.
Does your hip hurt?
Yeah. It's
aching
like
hip?
your
Your ankles hurt?
spidey sense. I just love everything about him. He's got that presence to him. The only concern I have is, will the hip pop out again? And
more than that, we're stacking up injuries.
Oh, yeah.
Big and small. And when you go,
yes, Russell Wilson is small, but Russell Wilson has never been hurt in the NFL.
He wasn't hurt, right? He wasn't hurt in college.
Yeah.
So I mean,
while I do compare him to Russell Wilson, keep in mind Russell Wilson's durable as hell.
And let's keep in mind, this Dolphin, Chris Greer, and the others in there at the time didn't want Lamar Jackson in part because they were afraid he'd get hurt with his style. Now, does that same mindset, we're going to no, we want Tua, even though he has been hurt. So, look, someone's either going to be the executive of the year with the decision, or they're going to be out of a job with the decision. And don't ask me which one will be right.
Yeah. Our next question comes from Oscar, who wants to know, would Parker take a 2 or 3 year contract extension right now?
Well, let me say he signed for another year, and I'm not giving him a 2 or 3 year contract extension.
Signed for $5.5 million.
Yeah, I mean let's get to this point next year, and then we'll talk contract, or maybe maybe September would be might be a better way.
Revisit in September, yeah.
Or again, you look at him and you say his stock has never been higher. Do you go into this
Dave.
offseason and say, and I don't know, this will be.
I want Devante as a foundational piece. I do. I like Devante. I've always liked Devante. I know he can play when he's healthy. My biggest thing is, what has he done to maintain? And here's what I realize I'm getting old, Dave, because the stuff that I heard 10 years ago are coming back. You understand what I'm saying?
Wait till you start writing the same stories you wrote 10 years ago. Omar.
And I remember Reggie Bush always talking to the young backs about, be a professional. Do the things on your off day, acupuncture, massage. If you're not an NFL player and you're not getting an acupuncture, massage, chirotherapy on your off day, you're a dummy. And so many guys, if you're not watching your diet, if you haven't been tested to have your diet to find out what foods are high in fat that your body doesn't process well, that's what Brandon Marshall do. There is a next level to
There's
this.
an education, but
Yeah.
and the good thing is now teams offer all this to you.
Yeah.
So it's all out there for you just to accept. Whereas before, 10 years ago, you had to go find it a lot of times.
I mean, you need to be doing everything on your day off, and then on Friday, get a massage again.
And good thing about Devante, he's doing all that now.
He seems to have gotten
He
it.
seems to
but
be doing
think
it.
about it. Think about how many people. Think about, you know how many receivers have called me and talked about how they tried to talk to him and tried to get him on this program or tried to help him?
We sure heard a lot about hydration
during
the Adam Gase time.
Hydration, staying up playing
injury.
video games. There's a level to professionalism, and what coaches will always say, it's 20 weeks out the season. If you're not playing Xbox at 3 a.m. for 20 weeks, what harm is that to you?
Well, your game might go down. Okay,
Your video gaming.
UC42, yes. UC42 has a question. In light of your early game criticism about the coaches not fixing issues, what would your solution be for the porous offensive line and defensive line play?
Ooh, right into my wheelhouse right here. Let me. I feel like taking my jacket off. Let's start with the defensive line because that's easier to fix. Find yourself an edge setting.
Yeah, that's easy. Easy to fix.
You could go sign Tannehill and he can set an edge for 2 plays a game, and then you could play Vince Beagle roaming around.
But the problem is you need that edge to actually rush the passer too.
No.
You
They
need some
don't
help
want,
there.
they don't want. This isn't about rushing the passer. That's a whole different dynamic, whole different problem. The edge needs to be set. Start a better rotation, including Gerald Willis, in that defensive tackle so that the Christian Wilkins and the Davin Godchilds are not playing 40 snaps a game. Get a better rotation at the defensive tackle. Get better players on the edge. Yes, Avery Moss is doing fine. Tannehill is getting better as an edge setter. Vince Beagle is adequate, and I like Vince Beagle for what he's doing, but should he be setting the edge? The answer is no. On offense, it's sad for me to say this because people who have followed me for quite a while know when I bring this name up, it's cause for concern. Julian Davenport looks like Dallas Thomas. He is going to destroy 6 plays a game. You don't know when they're going to happen. You don't know how they're going to happen, but he's going to destroy 6 plays. He's going to have 6 bad plays a game, and those 6 bad plays are going to kill 6 drives.
Okay, the question is of this season is
stop playing him.
Can he develop enough to get rid of those 6 plays?
No, not at left
Get him
tackle.
down to 2?
No, stop playing him. You need to put in Jamarcus Webb back at left tackle if you want to fix the problem. I don't think they want to fix the problem because I think they'd rather evaluate Julian Davenport.
Yes, that's what the season. I get that.
Okay,
I
so
get
you're not
that.
trying to win.
I don't know. Again, I don't know what the season's about anymore. I need to have a
Julian Davenport. He's playing hurt. Not to say
playing hurt.
that Webb wasn't playing hurt, but you're not getting a firm edge with Julian. They are in the backfield. He's led the team in pressures since his return, and it's traumatically bad.
Let me get to the shortcut of this answer to this question about the lines. They need better linemen.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, that's where we're really going with this when we're talking Julian Davenport, can he play or not, or bringing in Webb. I mean, they need to really invest in the lines in a way they haven't.
One of these first-round picks, and maybe I would do it with the number 4 pick, is going to have to be an offensive.
If they're going to take Tua, it's serious. If they're going to take they have 14 picks, 7 of them better be offensive linemen. They better, or you better have a couple free agents.
Give me 4 offensive linemen. Give me 3 defensive linemen, and I can make it.
And you better spend money on.
Yeah. I mean, it's
because you need that line in place the following year.
You need at least 3 starters on your offensive line next year. It's not debatable. They are going to have the worst rushing attack possibly in NFL history. And
San Diego Chargers, 2000, 1,062 yards, and they are clearly under it.
I think they're on pace for 1,002 yards.
Yeah, before last game they were. I don't know where they are now.
They are. It's bad. It's bad, definitely. Well, we've already seen the Dolphins beat the New York Jets. The Giants have a worse record than Miami, and Cincinnati has been awful, even though they got their last win of the season last week, beating the Jets. Here's my question to you, Dave. I know the Dolphins have a talent shortcoming. I know they've got 18 rookies playing on some points in the game, if not this season. I know they're a team built off waiver wire players, but they won 3 games, right?
Last time I checked the standings, they have.
They have, yeah. And they've beaten the Philadelphia Eagles, which is, last I checked, they're a pretty good team, right?
They're okay.
Oh, okay. Better than Jets?
Look, Philadelphia wore out. That's the thing that mystified me when you go back and you look at that game again. Where's the conditioning on that team? So, but yes, they're better than the Jets. Yes,
they're better than the Jets. So, let me ask you this question, Dave. Is it realistic that we could look at this final 4-game stretch of games and say to ourselves, could this team win 2 of 3 games?
They could win all 3. I mean, they could. I mean, they could lose all 3, too. That's the thing you don't know. Now, here's the weird part about the Dolphins roster to me right now. In December, if you look at Adam Gaze's last 2 years, they lost their last 3 games, both times. Because by that point, the veterans said, I'm done. I'm out of here.
And they're and injuries, and they're just patching the roster together with guys that Miami's already been
playing. But
with
young guys trying to make a career, they're not going to be having that same mindset of I just want to get healthy to the offseason.
I just want to make it healthy to the offseason.
So, in a weird way, the Dolphins' lack of experienced talent, which has been a hindrance for the first 3 months of the year, is oddly an advantage against bad teams right now.
I mean, as I said, 18 rookies are playing. They're young. They've got fresh legs. They're not banged up. And a lot of them, Shaq Calhoun, just starting.
They're happy to be out there, too.
Yeah. So I think, and this is what has gotten me a lot of criticism this week, I said, hey, let's see the Dolphins win 2 of the next 3 games. There's no tank anymore. What's the point? Well, if you're making,
I don't know what the point of winning or lose at this point. I guess, sure, go get them.
Here's the point of winning. It would show to free agents, hey, they got something down there. Or free agents.
Would they really look at, they beat the Bengals, I'm going there?
No, they look at it as, they're a 5 or 6 win team. They're not a dumpster fire like Teddy Bridgewater thought that they were when he said no, thanks, but no thanks. You want to get out of the dumpster fire realm. Washington will be a dumpster fire. Cincinnati will be a dumpster fire. You want to sneak out of the dumpster fire pile.
Okay, I'll buy that. You want to show that you're going somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
You come aboard here, we're going somewhere.
If you win 6 of your final 9 games, that's a selling point. And then you don't have any state taxes.
I was going to say, that's not, money's the selling point.
Yeah.
I still, look, Philadelphia was a nice win, but we're talking.
It was a great win.
A 5-7.
It's not nice. It was great.
We're all relative. It isn't like the opponents are sitting there to be beaten. It is.
I don't think the Giants. Eli Manning is going to be starting for the Giants next week because
maybe. Is that official?
Yeah.
If I'm Eli, I say, don't do that. We don't need any honorary day. And I go again.
No. He's hurt.
I go get
the rookie's hurt. The rookie's hurt.
Okay.
The rookie's hurt, and But yeah, it doesn't really matter. The Giants are trying to lose. They want to lose. They're like the Dolphins, the old Dolphins. They want to lose.
The Dolphins of a week ago.
The Dolphins of a week ago. They want to lose. The Bengals want to lose. The Jets, they don't want to lose.
The cost of winning these games, and it gets back to the miracle of Miami play.
Yeah.
As beautiful as that play was, as fun as it was, and I wouldn't take it away. But you get to draft day and you're drafting 5 spots lower because of that one play. That's what one game will do to you.
But
right
you know
now.
what? It really doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It doesn't
It
matter.
does
It does
matter.
not matter because ultimately, good executives draft well no matter where they are.
Okay.
A draft spot has never stopped Ozzie Newsome from getting what he wanted.
I agree with that.
And getting an impact player.
The idea is a good draft spot with smart drafters will be better than a lower draft spot with.
I need proof of life that they're smart drafters. That's what I.
I think when Steve Ross brought back Chris Greer, and they sat there, the first question I had to him was, "You fired Tannenbaum, you fired Gaze, or Gaze left, no matter.
Why not just start?
Why is Chris Greer back?" And he said, "Because we know what's happening in the room, and he's the guy we want to lead this." So we'll see. I mean, we're too far down that road to.
Yeah. I'm not turning back. No.
He's the most important guy in the franchise, as we all know.
Our next question comes from Uri, who asks, "What matchup advantage that we discovered in the previous meeting with the Jets should be exploited this week?"
Well, I think the matchup of Adam Gase and Brian Flores was exploited. You had one team playing hard, as they have every week, not well all the time, but hard, and you have another team in Adam Gase that mirrors really his emotions, up and down and all over the. Who are you going to get?
Fair.
Who are the Jets going to be this week?
That's
I know
fair.
if the Jets play to their talent, they win this game. But can Adam Gase keep them emotionally pointed? They won huge 2 weeks ago. They lost huge last week.
He does do that. He does roller coaster ride his emotions. He's an emotional guy. I say the biggest matchup to me is taking Le'Veon Bell out the game, but Adam Gase does it for you.
You don't have to.
Yeah, Adam Gase has no commitment to the run
We
game.
all knew he was here. He said,
yes.
"I'd like to draw up passing plays. I don't like to run the ball."
He does not like to run the ball. So all you got to do is just don't let Le'Veon Bell beat you, and then disguise your looks against Sam Darnold. Come on, he sees ghosts. He's admitted it.
Sam Darnold will Sam Darnold will make a mistake early,
Yes.
and then it'll be the question: how does he react? Does he come back strong, or does he go in the tank from that?
Absolutely.
All right, Omar. Gio has a good question. How many more wins would this team have if it had kept Tannehill, Tunsil, and Minkah?
Yeah,
Had to ask the question. Had to bring it in, didn't you?
You lucked out on that one. Let's start with Ryan Tannehill. Props to Ryan for what he's doing and
Everybody
what he's
should be
accomplishing.
happy for Ryan Tannehill.
Let's give Ryan an applause. He's leading the Titans to a potential playoff berth, to a potential AFC South championship. And we should all be proud of what he's doing. Not surprised, but proud. But we also know there's going to be that game that you need him, and he doesn't show up for you, because that's Tannehill. He's sacked a bunch of times in Tennessee, even though they've got a gigantic, huge offensive line. They got a powerful running game. It's a perfect system for him, and I appreciate everything that he did here, but I knew he was never going to win a championship. Props to Tennessee for signing him and showing that he's a good player. He's a good player, but he's never going to win you a championship.
Here's my takeaway from what Ryan's doing in Tennessee. And it's the old Bill Walsh line. I've used it in my columns through the years. Organizations make quarterbacks. Okay, organizations help the quarterback. And you look at it, it's not just Ryan Tannehill. All of a sudden, they got a big man running game in Tennessee.
Yeah.
All right?
That's how you should have built it for Ryan.
And you got physical defense. He's stepped into a nice situation where he's better than Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
When they signed him, it was like, okay, he's going to start eventually.
Yeah, we all knew he was
now.
gonna
Is
start
he a championship quarterback? No. But
he could shut us up if he takes them to the playoffs and wins a couple games. He would shut
wins
us
a
up.
couple games. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because you get to that second game.
Hey, if he moves into the upper echelon of top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, which he could do that if he wins 2 playoff games. Like, people are talking about they might have to franchise tag Ryan Tannehill.
You bring back the Dolphins? You bring him back to the Dolphins,
No,
Omar?
I'm
Bring him back.
I'm
back.
good. I honestly, no disrespect to Ryan, I'd rather have Ryan Fitzpatrick. I know he's 37. I know he's got no future here, but I see the impact he makes on the team. I know. Ryan, you want to know what held Devante Parker back his entire career outside of injuries? Ryan Tannehill.
And Gase.
No, Gase believed in him. No, when Gase got Cutler.
Initially.
No. You stand corrected.
Wait a second. His agent, in a way I haven't
No,
heard of
that
my
was
career.
the next year.
I know. Well,
That was the next year.
Okay.
He got all Gase bought in. Devante Parker dominated practice with Jay Cutler as the quarterback.
Right.
Dominated.
Because Jay Cutler would throw it up
He
there.
just throw it up there, give him 50-50 balls.
And again, a smart defensive coordinator is going to take that away. But
yeah.
that's irrelevant.
Ryan Fitzpatrick can throw 50-50 balls. All you have to do is give Devante 50-50 balls. You get one-on-one coverage. Brian DeMarsh used to tell me all the time, he'd do this thing. He'd go to Ryan Fitzpatrick. I got one-on-one, he'd have hip calls. He'd have hip calls that he'd give him, and those are the routes he'd run. They'd play their own two-man game. And that's what Fitzpatrick does. You don't think he's out there, Devante Parker's out there telling him what routes I'm running?
Well, I think Fitzpatrick's telling Parker.
No,
you see him making motion. It's interesting. If you
Yes.
watch closely, the
That's
receivers
football.
are talking.
Yeah, they're talking. And so that's why people are like, oh, well, the coaches are doing a great job with Devante Parker. He's better. No, it's Fitzpatrick.
Well, they do practice this, okay?
Yes.
I mean, they do. But yes,
It's not a drawn-up play.
But to the point, by Devante Parker's 3rd year with Gase had enough.
Gase quit, yeah.
He had enough.
No, Devante had told me he lost confidence in himself. That was the first time ever in my career a player had admitted to me that he lost confidence in himself. And I was humbled by the confession. I found it a little troubling, but I'm glad that he got it back because he always had ability. He just needed to stay healthy, and he needed coaches that believed in him. After a while, and I don't blame Gase because you can't keep trying to build something around a guy.
He didn't play him. I mean, he took him out.
Because he wasn't healthy. He wasn't. He
wasn't healthy. He came back the Houston game and had a huge game.
He practiced the final month of the season in a red jersey, which means which is a quarterback. Don't touch him.
To the point of the question, Tannehill, I think all anybody should feel right now is happiness for Ryan Tannehill. He gave everything he had for 7 years here. It wasn't working. Everybody knows it was time for both sides to have an amicable split, and now he's succeeding, so be happy for him.
He'll play in the NFL till he's 40 if he wants to. And Tennessee's a perfect spot for him. I'm happy for him.
Chad Henne has. He's better than Henne.
Why are you bringing up old quarterbacks, Dave?
Well, it's just in my mind.
Mr. Wonk wants to know, and this is a very, very important question because going into last week, I was advocating Josh Rosen. What are we doing? We keep talking about the draft and the quarterbacks and round 1 of the draft, but nobody is talking about the elephant in the room. What's the most likely scenario for Josh Rosen? Next year's quarterback? Cheap backup? Trade?
Well, the most likely scenario is he is released.
No.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. Omar.
Absolutely not.
No. Let me go with this. If they go the scenario of drafting Tua and he's not ready next year, that's. But if you draft a quarterback, then you have Ryan Fitzpatrick there to mentor him.
No.
Where does Rosen fit in there? He can't go to the practice squad.
Yes, he can.
He can't be traded.
He can be my third quarterback on the 53.
Why would you keep him? You don't like him.
Why
would you keep a player you do not like? You're not going to play ever. Why?
Because he might develop.
No,
day.
You're sitting here for the last several weeks.
No.
I don't like Rosen. I don't like Rosen.
No. I don't like him because he doesn't process football fast enough. He does not read the field fast enough, and he's easy to play as a quarterback.
So why keep him?
Who's to say in a second year in the exact same offense that he won't begin to process football fast enough?
If you think that, play him now.
Hell no.
If you think
Hell
that,
no.
why?
He doesn't
gives
give
me
you
nothing.
He gives you no chance to win.
So what? These wins are meaningless. They're meaningless.
They're not meaningless to Ryan Fitzpatrick. They're not meaningless to Devante Parker. They're not
To the
meaningless
franchise, they are meaningless.
No. So
Yes.
you're back on the tank? What are you
No,
doing?
I'm saying if you think Josh Rosen could have a future, play him.
No.
Speed up, accelerate him,
He's not close to as good as Ryan Fitzpatrick.
and release him. What are you gonna have a third quarterback? Why?
Yes.
Why?
What teams have third quarterbacks all the time? Kansas City had third quarterback.
Yeah,
Look how
and
many
he's
teams,
on the practice squad.
Look how many teams
They're
have
on the
needed.
practice
Look
squad.
how many teams have needed 3 quarterbacks. The Jets are on their 4th quarterback. The 4th quarterback in Pittsburgh is starting.
Here's the thing: he'll be out there to be re-signed if you're right about him.
No.
Here's the thing.
No, this is ridiculous, Dave.
Brian Flores has shown he has no confidence in Josh Rosen.
No,
not yes.
He praised him last week. He praised him last week. He said he on the scout team he mimicked Carson Wentz perfectly.
Okay.
And that's what his role is.
I read that
He's going
to-
to be a scout team quarterback next year for the Dolphins on your 53, and there's no shame in that. None. Teams keep 3 quarterbacks.
Don't see any reason to do that. You only keep quarterback. You think they could be something.
He could be. Okay. He can.
You know he's not. You do not believe he's going to be anything, right?
I believe in 2 years he might be something. 2 years. Give me 2. Give me 2. Just developmental time.
To your point, it's not going to cost him anything but a
No,
roster spot.
He's super
essentially.
cheap.
But
he is super cheap.
I don't see.
He's
wh-
cheaper than any
I
backup.
don't, I
you
don't
have.
see where he fits. I don't see if
He
they
fits
if
as
they
a number
weren't
3.
if they weren't going to play him this year, a year when they really weren't trying to win.
Patriots keep 3 quarterbacks all the time.
Well, they kept 4 with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He was the 4th.
What? You don't. Okay, I am not a Josh Rosen fan. And the reason is he processes the field too slowly. But who's to say in an offense that he knows in his practice, in 2 years from now, he might be the next Jacoby Brissett. He might be the next Jacoby Brissett. 2 years, you don't know.
Okay, all right, Omar. We'll see. We'll see what happens to him. All right, prediction time, Omar. Here we go. We got the Jets coming, or the Dolphins going to the Jets. A rematch with Adam Gase. Where are you going with this one?
Because I know the teeter-totter land of Adam Gase, lose to a winless team, desperation sets in, you're zoned in, you're locked in. I think he's going to not get embarrassed by the Dolphins, and he's going to pull out every trick play he's got. He's going to throw at Miami. So I'm going to go with a 24-20 Jets victory.
His trick plays are whatever he's pulling out of that playbook's not working. Once again,
Hey, it was working before he got beat by Cincinnati.
Once again, one of the lowest, if not the lowest, offense in the league.
It's funny about Adam Gase. He's got the same problems with the Jets that he had with Miami.
He's not very good. He can't lead people. He cannot lead a room.
No, I disagree with that. He can lead a room. He can't command trust.
He can't command a room.
He can't maintain trust. You can't trust him. Eventually, he's struggling. Won't commit to the run game. Struggles on 3rd down. That's Adam Gase. All you got to do is get off the field on 3rd down. You can beat him.
All right, I'm with you. The roller coaster, the Jets at home, to me, that's what it comes down to. If they're playing up there for a really young team like the Dolphins, I mean, it's a coin flip of which Jets team will show up. But I'd say the okay Jets team will show up. Not the good. They're not good.
Jamal Adams.
Yeah, they're playing without Jamal Adams, which will be a big
player. That
big
could
loss.
be a big loss.
Ryan Fitzpatrick saying, "Oh, I got clear shots up the middle
50-50 balls, baby." And could this be a Devante Parker revenge game?
Oh, yeah, he got a little
it's
something
a
to
good
play.
look.
He's telling Fitzpatrick, just throw me the ball.
What
we did last week, this week.
Well, thank you for watching X's and Omar. Hope you enjoyed the show, even though Dave wants to release Josh Rosen. Unbelievable. Blows my mind.
That's your takeaway.
Yes. Like, come on.
I'm the one starting the season saying, play him,
You
let's see him.
You applauded him when they traded for him. Now you want to release a second-round pick?
If nobody's going to buy into him, believe in him at all, in this year of all years, if he can't play,
Who knows?
all I've heard from people inside the organization is not serious enough for him. So
I told you. But anyway, X's and Omar's next Wednesday at noon. We'll see you next week.